he was great for Celtic though. I remember him.
Well, yeah. He's a good young talent. So, you guys requested it. I saw so many comments about it. Talk about transfers. Talk about transfers.
Yeah.
So, we're gonna talk about a couple of news we've been seeing lately this week, and I'm gonna start with the most devastating one in my opinion because Donnarumma. I feel like he should have stayed at AC Milan because I feel the excuse he had beforehand was AC Milan didn't play Champions League football. But the year that AC Milan qualify to the Champions League, Donnarumma leaves.
Hmm.
And Maldini is doing the discussions to renew your contract. And I don't feel there was too much respect towards Maldini. And the numbers that were in the news, they were ludicrous. I think it's Raiola getting 20 million commission,
Hmm.
um, 10 million a year for Donnarumma. I know big players demand big wages because they do bring a lot to the table. It is true. But Donnarumma is 22. He's gonna. Time isn't an issue for him right now. And if he goes to Juventus, what are your thoughts on this? Like,
Oh,
I want to hear it out.
to
Hear it
be
out.
to be honest, I mean that's actually the only logical place for him to wind up now because
Mm,
the others that are sniffing around him is you got Barcelona, you got Ter Stegen there, and I just
mm,
don't see any. I mean, you're going there to be a number two. I don't think so, and you're going to kick Ter Stegen out. That doesn't make any sense.
true.
And then PSG, who still have Keylor Navas, right? He's not retiring. There's no
True.
real reason for them to necessarily need that. But the bigger thing here is that if he's going to Juve, right,
Mm-hmm.
he's going on a free, and that's like the largest slap in the face that you could give any AC Milan fan that has some shred of respect and dignity for you, right,
I agree.
moving forward. So he's in a what do they call it? A rock. No, he's behind the eight ball. If you're talking billiards, he's damned if he does, damned if he doesn't. And frankly, I think he got crappy advice this time around, and he's not. There's no good decision here.
Well,
He'll get paid though.
you said no team needs a keeper. I see that Europa League final. I think Man United may need a keeper.
Yeah, that's just a
Donnarumma
lot.
at Man United. Will we make this rumor happen?
I'm okay. I'm okay with that. It makes a whole lot of sense. I'd rather see Dean. I just want to know. I mean, how
Mm,
many millions of dollars per point saved or point one, right? For Donnarumma, does it make sense if you could take, say, a flyer on a Dean Henderson, and maybe reinvest elsewhere where you really know you need it? Um,
true. True, but I feel like what's happening too is AC Milan not a big club like Juventus because we have Theo Hernandez maybe leaving, we've
mm,
got Donnarumma leaving, and I don't feel like this attracts big players to AC Milan because the big players are leaving.
yeah.
So you go there, you improve, and then you leave. Is this the image that we're gonna have for AC Milan?
The funny thing is you're also riding what, like a 39-year-old, and asking him to do that year in year out for Zlatan. So it is an interesting
He
position
did
that
make a
Milan is
difference.
in.
He did
Yeah.
make a
Oh,
difference.
absolutely made a difference. But I'm just saying it's not necessarily a kind of a repeatable process there. You
Yeah.
can't ask if there's one person you can ask to do that to, it's Lawton.
Hmm.
But the majority of most people will slow down. So it's going to be interesting to see who they can bring in the offseason with the Champions League money. Um,
But I did mention there Theo Hernandez, and personally, I feel like if PSG get Theo Hernandez and Hakimi, they
yeah.
fixed their fullback issue.
Well, yeah. I mean,
And Neymar, no more demands. You got the team. If they get Hakimi and Theo Hernandez, people can't say, "Oh, Mitchell De Baker he's playing bad." Blah, 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 blah. You got Hakimi now.
yeah. Well,
You
I
got
mean, it tells
Marquinhos.
you it tells you all you need to know about who they're targeting. Let's go find the best U23, or I think Teo's 24 now, but let's go find the best young fullbacks, slot them in there because that tells you all we need to know about what our weaknesses were this year. I mean, the fullbacks were just not good for them.
I
Uh,
agree. I
so
agree. But what did you think about the Pochettino news? Going back to Tottenham.
it's a culture thing.
Hmm.
in the sense that if they don't give you the reins, I don't know if this has anything to do with those kind of scant rumors around Pochettino returning to White Hart, well, not White Hart Lane anymore, to Tottenham Stadium or whatever it's called,
Hmm.
Spurs Stadium. But I just think it's one of those. It's they expect to win and win now, and when win now is your only kind of expectation, and the Champions League is what we're talking about here for the most
Hmm.
part. You're almost doomed for failure because I think in this day and age, it's virtually impossible. There's too many super clubs. It's virtually impossible to buy yourself, 5 Champions Leagues in a row. There has to be a culture that's built around. So it needs to be the guys like, you know, there needs to be a blend of PSG Academy and the stars they bring in to complement them, right?
Okay.
And that's my thought process. I could be way off, but
Who's
it
the
just
who's the who's the talent that you think should have stayed of the PSG academy? Because they
I,
got a lot of them, like
like
Tanguy Nianzou that went now to Bayern Munich. He's really good.
yeah. I mean, and so many of them
Adil,
that
Adil that went to Bordeaux or Saint
yeah, and I don't know
Etienne
how to
now.
say his last name, Ashish.
No, and then you
Uh,
got the Saint Etienne. Yassine Adli went to Bordeaux, and
yep,
this other player went to Saint Etienne. Can't
yep.
remember.
And
I don't know, but another PSG academy player.
yeah, well, you also have Nkunku, who is a little older, but he's been pulling the strings for
True.
for Leipzig. Had a phenomenal year this year. Obviously, he might not fit into the tactic of whoever is the boss at the time, but these are guys that if you foster them a little bit, at least you can get paid more for them when you unload them.
True.
It just doesn't really make too much sense that it's just they just let him go. Like Dan Axel Zagadou, right?
Hmm.
Okay, he hasn't yet realized his potential
Oh,
at
but he's
Dortmund,
so good.
but there's so many that have come from that academy, and there's so many behind them. They keep churning them out, but yet there's got to be some way you can bring him in there, build a culture around him, and I honestly think
Isn't
that
that
man,
the manager? Isn't that the manager though?
yeah. But the
It's
manager has to be given the string, right, to
mm,
do so, given the yarn, whatever the hell you want to call
but
it. But
that's Leonardo. Leonardo, right? He's the one who makes the signings, does the contract negotiations.
it's
He,
true.
he must have a ton of pressure now.
I would
But
think so.
with Mbappe leaving,
Hmm.
and I wanted to mention a player too that we don't speak a lot about him, and he is too in the under 21. In the European competition, and his it's Brahim Diaz
Yeah.
at AC Milan.
Hmm.
He's really good. Like, and Real Madrid got him a loan deal with no obligation to buy,
Hmm.
and he improved at AC Milan, and his stock rised,
Yeah.
and they might snatch 20 to 30 million with him. What are your thoughts on him?
I think, yeah, I'm actually excited. He was another one I meant to mention about that Spanish team tomorrow. But he had a great season. I mean, he disappeared for stretches, but so did a lot of their young guys, which you kind of have to expect at some point. Like Rafael Leal he got
He
pretty
got injured.
into things for a while and then kind of stepped away a little bit and then came back. Alexis Selemakers, the Belgian, he also played a big role for them. They even bought late on from Bodo in Norway, Jans Petter Hauge, and I probably killed that name. But
Hmm.
they're building stock, right? They're at least giving these guys chances. And obviously, it was the Ante Rebiches. It was the who was the guy? Why can't I remember his name right now? The set piece taker
Who? Who? Tell me.
with it. Oh, with a Turkish last name.
Sanyan Oglu.
Yes, thank you.
Really good.
I mean, these guys were the ones leading the way, but each of these guys, Brahim Diaz, why am I blanking? Salamakers, Kalulu, all of these guys
Kalulu.
actually
Gilpalmo.
played, yeah, good
Gilpalmo.
roles.
Because
Yeah.
that's another player too that he needs to make a decision this summer.
Mhm.
Does he stay at United? I don't think he should stay at United. I feel like maybe he should leave to maybe go indefinite to Italy. I don't think he was too bad at AC Milan. There were games in which you could see he was a little bit shaking, but
Yeah, it cut out. Who did you say?
Diogo Dalot.
Oh yeah, yeah, Diogo. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think he does, and I think Milan has the space for him. Right? They have the. It's
Hmm.
just whether or not has he been healthy all year?
No, I don't think he has though. He had a moment in the season in which he was in really good form, and then he kind of he kind of settled. But
Mhm.
well, I did see some news I wanted to mention too. The
All right.
Marcus Edwards. I don't know if you remember this Tottenham prospect.
Dribbling beast.
Uh, yeah, he's really good dribbling. He's
Yeah.
Guimarães. They
Hmm.
they got a really good player. This is interesting to mention too that Tap Soba was at Guimarães, and now Marcus Edwards. Like they're doing really good scouting. They
Yeah,
deserve recognition for that.
I agree.
And the news is Marcus Edwards to Sporting. Marcus Edwards bought Paulinho. Sporting, they're if Marcus Edwards goes there, they're making the right deals to revalidate the title.
Sure.
Like, what do you think of him? What do you remember of Marcus Edwards?
Well, I mean that's a whole nother conversation about Spurs Academy and all the guys that we all thought had a whole bunch of promise, and unfortunately they've gone elsewhere not necessarily realize it. And you're left with like the Oliver Skips and Harry Winks of the world, and
Mm,
hopefully the young guy that Dane Scarlett who just got his chance this year. But yeah, you have a bunch of guys like the Troy Parrott and Marcus Edwards that they're just not really given a chance.
mm,
And Edwards, we knew always had the dribbling ability. I think it was with the youth national teams, right, that we got to see that firsthand. But you and I mean, if I did not know you, I don't know if I would have known that Marcus Edwards was kind of tearing up Liga NOS, right? And he's constantly, I think, for the last 2 seasons, right? He's been uh, pretty high up on the dribbles won per game.
mm-hmm.
Doesn't necessarily make an effective player, but at the same time, he's had an impact for his team, and I'm excited to see him taking that step up. And it's definitely a new track that people can take. That some of these English young castoffs can go to try and get playing time.